Anna for our sixth Flowers and Friends talk show.
Time has gone so fast and we're having so much fun. Hi, everyone. I'm Ana Galena. I'm one of the co hosts of Flowers and Friends. I've been in the flower industry for 23 years. I'm actually a floral designer, and I also like to share the joy of living with flowers. We're here with Kara.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I am Kara Jameson. I'm also one of the co hosts of the Flowers and Friends talk show. I live on a farm in Tennessee. I'm a cut flower grower, an educator, and I just really love talking about how to grow flowers.
We just both love to talk about
Yes.
flowers, and we love to be around people that work with
Yes.
flowers because there's so much to
Yes.
learn.
Yes, yes. So we have Anna the florist. I'm the cut flower grower, and we are really excited today because we are actually adding a third co-host to our Flowers and Friends talk show, which we are so excited about. We are welcoming Dion Woods of the Turquoise Iris as a co-host on our show, and she really brings a lot to the table that we're really excited about. She is not only a beautiful artist and art teacher, she is also a podcaster. She is a business coach, and she is just a powerhouse. So let's bring her on and say hello.
You, hi, Dion. We're so happy you're here.
Thank you guys for the warm welcome, Kara. I don't know why am I got tears in my eyes, and I thought, why am I tearing up? But that's so kind of you guys, and I'm really honored to be a part of this type of flower movement. I don't know if we quite understand what Bloom is doing, but I feel like this is kind of an extension. Like this talk show has become like a really good foundation for our guests and another platform. But I'm excited to be part of something that just feels bigger than myself. So thank you all for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yes, we're all gonna have a great time. As you guys can remember, Dion was in our first episode, and she is truly an inspiration person. You might remember I did some
You
I took her
painted.
advice, and my whole family started painting because she's really good, and all our shows have been really good. She has been working with us ever since. She
Yes.
was behind the scenes, but we love her so much and we love talking to her. We thought you guys would want to be with her every week too.
Yes, yes. Dion,
Thank
you have
you.
quite the squad in our chat. There are so many people saying hello. So welcome. Thank you everybody for being with
Guys.
us.
Hey
We got
guys, thank you so much.
78
And
people on right now. Wow.
that's fantastic. 78 people. If you all tag one of your friends, listen, I know a lot of people are at work today, but if you will tag your friends in the audience, they'll get the notification. They can watch it later. They can also go to BloomTV Network any time of the week, anytime over the weekend, and they can literally watch the replay too. So let's if you guys can do that in the comments, tag a friend and share it along. What we're doing can be so much bigger than just ourselves, right? And so we need your help. Like we can't do this alone. We really need your
Right.
help. So I am happy to ask you guys just to kind of share this video as well.
Yes,
Yes, thank you so
yes.
much. Hola Sandra, hola Pili, hola a todos los que están ahí en español. Besos, gracias.
I love that. I love that.
So Dion has been with us behind the scenes, helping us produce the show. So let's talk a little bit about last week's show, which was really fun. We had Mayrose on with Picnic with Me, which she showed us how to create a really fun picnic outdoors. And we also had Carly Jean on giving us some wedding tips. We have a little video to play for you guys. Let's play that right now.
Yes, let's.
Ways to reuse your wedding flowers is bridesmaids bouquets. When you think about it, they use them for pictures and during the ceremony, but really not during the reception, right? They're not out on the dance floor holding their bouquet. And so a great way to reuse bridesmaids bouquets is, I know some people use them as centerpieces, just like with the flowers sitting on the table would look nice. Or you could set them around the venue, set one on your sign-in table, set one by the bar, just sort of give that little flower feel around the venue. And bridesmaids bouquets are a great way to do that.
We are the messengers of flowers and of decorations and of those special moments. It's thanks to what we're doing to helping those couples make it even more special.
Yes, and it
Mhm.
really is really special. I had no idea. Picnicking was just a hobby,
Right. Yes.
and I just really enjoyed doing it. It was a concept. Every time I would go, I would always
Mhm.
ask myself, how? I wonder how I could do this. But I had no idea in 2020 is when I was going to do this.
A stilbe is a shade loving perennial flower. And a lot of people have a hard time with flowering plants in the shade. You know, people typically are like, I know I can plant hostas, but what kind of cut flowers can I plant in the shade? Well, first of all, you definitely need just some hellebore in there and some Japanese anemones. But for summertime blooms right now, plant some
I
astilbe.
mean, you cut the stem, put it in boiling water, then you just add some alum to your stem, and you're ready to go. Your hydrangeas will last. They will be so crisp, and nothing's gonna happen to them. I mean, it's that easy, and it works. It works 100% of the time.
Well, I learned something new today.
Listen,
See?
did any
Go
did
ahead.
anybody? Oh my gosh, did anybody else go and try to set up a picnic on Saturday? Because it was just me.
I was there. I actually got to enjoy a picnic with May Rose. It was the best experience ever.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love
You know
that.
what? You know what I did outside this week, actually? So we had Holly Capelli on a few weeks ago, and she taught us how to make floral ice, which I had never done that before. So this past weekend, I took a few minutes to myself, and I went around my gardens, and I picked a bunch of edible flowers, and I made floral ice and fruit water, and I just felt so fancy drinking it.
Totally fancy. And I decided after listening to Carly, I thought I needed to have this girl talk to some of my son's friends. She is phenomenal. That girl
Mhm.
seems fearless. And I was blown away by the fact, I mean, when she started talking about the trends for weddings, I thought that was really helpful. So
Yeah.
if you viewers missed that last week, you can still watch the replay. All of our past shows can be viewed on BloomTV. But
Mhm.
Carly, 21 years old, and
Yeah.
she had 5 weddings. It was Saturday, and I told my son who's 20, I said, so there's this girl that you should follow. She's doing 5 weddings. And I wanted to go, how much money are you making today, bub? But I didn't say that.
Yes, her story is so inspiring. I want to take this opportunity. A lot of our viewers are commenting on how they're going to do a picnic this weekend. So
Mhm.
please email us a picture because we want to
Yes.
show everyone what you're doing. Having a fancy picnic is absolutely a must have. It's an act of self love. And today's
Right.
show is all about how flowers can heal us, can help us, and actually how having beautiful things in our life will actually elevate our soul, our spirit, will make everything better. So
Mhm.
please send us pictures because we want to see what you're doing.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds like we have an exciting show today. So let's
Oh
get
my
into
gosh.
the intro. Let's go.
This song.
Wow.
That song
We
always
have
makes me
a
dance.
great show today, and that song is so catchy. It makes us happy, doesn't it?
Well, we have something so exciting coming up. Our guest, you guys, there's been some fun going on over the last couple of days between Bloom and Where Women Create. And Anna, I'm going to let you tell everybody about our guest.
Well, no, today's show is we have on the studio with us the lady that actually got to make the first produced video by BloomTV. You're going to start seeing way more of this, but this is the first produced video, and we collaborated with Women Create. Women Create is, tell us about Women Create, Dion.
So if you guys are not familiar with Where Women Create, there are other
Mhm.
publications that Joe Peckham also produces and publishes with this. My
Mhm.
personal favorites are Where Women Create, because I got to see in the pages and in the studio of where people like all of us create. And Joe, they've done What Women Create, Where Women Create. They've done a fabulous job at really diving into people's personal spaces, which
Mhm.
they've opened them up to. So you can get this publication at places like Whole Foods, Barnes and Noble, Michael's, many other newsstands, but you can also subscribe to them. Mine comes straight into my door every single quarter. I get a new magazine. These are some of my personal favorites, and just collaborating with them was really a solid thing for Bloom TV. It was really a powerful collaboration.
And the best part, let me tell you a little bit about the collaboration. On each of the magazines starting this month, there's
Mhm.
going to be a Bloom TV expert, and it's not only going to be featured in the magazine, we're also going to be creating a video so you
Mhm.
can get the full experience. Tell them more, Kara.
Yeah, so on BloomTVNetwork.com, Bloom TV and What Women Create are creating a series of videos. And Bloom TV released the first video in the series this week with Jessica Sparzak. And she is here with us today. So let's bring her on screen. Let's tell her hello and give her a warm welcome.
Hi, thank you.
Hi.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, Jessica.
Well, welcome, Jessica. We're so glad you're here. Your
Thanks, and none.
story is so incredibly powerful. I just want you to know that. I was moved to tears, and I don't want to be like spoiler alert or anything for people that haven't
Yeah.
watched it, but I, for one, was listening to you, and as a mom and as a creative, the fact that you could take a tumbleweed and do what you did and then turn something that felt really broken into something extraordinary, beautiful, and then that you had the courage to share that, that in itself is so beautiful. I absolutely loved it.
Thank you. Thank you. My story is one that I've had a really hard time just sharing over paper, right? So like people have asked me to write it down and things in the past. And when Monica talked with me about having a video segment to share my story, I was overwhelmed, for one, humbled, and really excited because I felt like we could communicate it the way I wanted to, with both the written word and the video. So it was powerful for me to experience sharing it that way.
Yes. Why don't we show our viewers a small clip of what this video is all about?
Yes, let's do.
So one of the things I love the most about my art and my approach to it is this sense of taking something that is truly unwanted. It goes from being something that was trash and nobody would really even think anything of it, and then I'm creating art with it, and what it becomes is fascinating.
Oh my goodness. I just feel like I could just walk right there with you, and just that emotion that you know, sharing a little bit of your story. You must have been so scared, literally scared to your core, going through all of the things when it first started, when it first happened with the birth of your son. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. First of all, you're right. I was scared, and it wasn't just me, it was also my husband.
Yeah.
But I'll start actually back with when I had my daughter. We lived in New York City, and I had a water home birth in my tiny New York City apartment. And I had a really beautiful experience giving birth to my daughter. And I just made the assumption that it would be similar.
Right.
Not the case.
Right.
I realized pretty quickly, he came 3 weeks early. And when I went into labor, we realized I had a fever. And so my midwife said, we have to go to the hospital. So that's how that process started. And I remember feeling really disoriented. And it was like I was giving birth with the flu. So anyone who's given birth,
Yeah,
like
no
you
fun.
need another thing added into that experience. But
Yeah.
Right.
for me, it was like, oh gosh, I was sweating and fevering and all this stuff. Anyways, so when he was born, our pediatrician and the doctors were like, he's very sick. So he got sent to the NICU, but they actually hadn't checked my body at that time. And so we were in the hospital for a little while. Once he was released and we went home, I spiked my fever again. And we ended up back in the hospital for me. And it took quite a while to figure out what was going on. But basically, I was septic. I had sepsis running through my entire body. And what made that, and every time we would think we figured it out, something else, I would spike my fever again. And so there was a point, and I shared this in the article in the magazine, there was a point in I remember laying in the hospital, and my husband was passed out asleep and my son was there, and I had developed this severe, intense pain in my chest. And the only way to make the pain go away was like if I hunched over while I was nursing my son. And I had called the call button and I kept saying, I don't feel good and something's wrong. And they just kept pumping me full of Tylenol. And I'm like, no, something's really, really wrong here. And I remember in that moment looking over at my son and looking at my husband and thinking, I think I should wake them up. Because this is it. Like, I'm not going to make it through the night.
Feeling. Yeah.
Oh my
It
gosh.
was a very scary feeling, and I was not wrong. So I actually was dying in the hospital, and it was because I had an ovarian clot that had gotten loose and went into my lungs. So I had 2 pulmonary embolisms, and I was experiencing congenital heart failure. So it was extremely serious and extremely scary. And I just kept getting rushed around to different places. Once they finally, I felt like it was a miracle because this nurse came in the middle of the night and she finally listened to me, and she saved my life.
Yes.
And she made sure that I got the attention and the care that I needed. It was just such a bizarre case. I'm just one of those people. Whenever I share this story with women, especially women who are of childbearing years, I'm like, this will never happen to you. Because I have taken care of it for all time. Like, this will never happen again in the history, like the series of events. And then fast forwarding to what I talk about in the episode about the ribs, that was another weird turn of events, was that while I was giving birth and feeling super sick, I had dislocated 2 of my ribs. And no one figured that out. We didn't figure that out for 2 months. So by the time, 3 months.
Wow.
By the time I got help with that, I had 6 dislocated ribs from the sternum and the spine, which again, only happens if you're in a car accident or if you are a football player. So a little 105, 10, 20 pound woman, whatever I was at that point, is not the normal candidate for rib dislocation. So that was really the piece that sent me through my extremely painful, I can't even explain the level of pain when your ribs are dislocated. But that was where I spent 4 years recovering. And the problem too with the pulmonary embolisms was that it's one thing to have pulmonary embolisms, it's another thing to have them when they're infected.
Right.
So it just was this shocking, earth-shattering, life-changing thing. And I just was going to have a baby.
Jessica, you're here for a purpose. Jessica, you are here for a purpose, and you know that, don't you? You feel that. You are spared. You are here for an absolute purpose.
Yeah. And now you're sharing your story with the world to help inspire other women. And you have in turn created a business. From this, you found Floral Design. So Jessica Sparzak is the founder and owner of Pickletown Flower Company based in Denver, Colorado. She's also our very first expert to be featured in a BloomTV production, which, by the way, you can go to BloomTVnetwork.com. Everyone can watch it for free. You've got to go watch it. Like, I'm with Dion. Like, I actually cried like a baby because I can really relate to your story too. And it's just very moving. She also is in the the What Women Create magazine, which comes out on stands later this June, which is exciting.
So exciting.
Very exciting. And without giving the entire story away, because you guys really need to see the video to really feel what we're talking about. But we do have a second little clip that we want to tease you with, because the photography and the videography for this collaboration is stunning. I am so impressed. So let's run that second little clip that we have.
Wow, it's
Gorgeous.
so beautiful.
The team was so phenomenal to work with, and we had a lot of fun. And I will tell you, it was freezing that day. It was actually like 30 degrees.
Wow.
So
I wouldn't have known that, because it actually inspires warmth. Like, I get such a
Good
warm feeling. Like, I mean,
I frozen. My toes were frozen. My fingers were frozen. I was in sandals. I was like, guys, I have to put my boots on. I'm not going to make it through the next 10 minutes of this. And it was so cold, because I live in Colorado, and it was, you know, February.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
You're a natural.
Right. You totally are. I would love to hear more about, you know, how your floral design even started. Like, what inspired you?
Yeah, for sure. So floral design actually started for me as a side hustle, which I think is how it happens for most people, a lot of people, at least these days. And when I lived in New York City, I worked for a nonprofit, and I ended up doing the florals for our events just because I was spearheading the events and I enjoyed doing it. And our office was located right near the flower market. So we were like 34th and 35th in Broadway, and the market's just like a few blocks south. So I used to walk down there, pick the flowers for the events, and then sometimes just even on lunch, I'd be walking around because I loved it so much. And I really enjoyed looking at the flowers. You have stuff coming in from the Dutch markets, from the tropical, like South American markets. And I just thought it was amazing, and I was enamored by it. And as I started doing that for our events, I realized, oh, I'm actually pretty good at this. So and then there was this and I remember at the time, because people started asking me to do it, like some of the people who'd come to our events was, oh, can you do something for my event, or I'm getting married? And I remember my boss at the nonprofit being like, you're not going to leave us to do this, are you? And I was like, I wasn't planning on it, but so we fast forward, I got pregnant, had my daughter, and decided to be home with her instead of going back to my job, and started doing flowers as a little side hustle. And I took a class from these phenomenal women at this place called the Little Flower School in New York. And I just did like 1 3-hour class, and I learned so much in that 1 3-hour class. And again, in the class, felt like, gosh, I'm actually really good at this. I think I have a natural ability. And so I started thinking that through and decided, thank you. And I thought, I want to pursue this. And at that time, I had my daughter. She was about a little over a year old. And I said to my husband, I think I want to go to the flower school at the New York Botanical Garden. And he was totally supportive of it. And within 2 months, he got a job transfer. So that didn't happen. So he had really wanted to move out to Colorado, and we're very close to both of our families, and his family, his parents and us decided to all move to Colorado together. So we moved out here.
Brilliant.
And they moved out here shortly thereafter, and that had been a dream for them. And so I just knew I needed to set that part for me aside for just a little while. And right after we moved here, I got pregnant with my son. So then there's that whole other story. And so it was really during the healing process after my son's birth, years later, when I started thinking through my gifts, my personality, I thought, the traditional path is not for me. I'm not one of these people who wants to open a shop and be in that shop. I don't like to be stuck.
Yeah.
I
feel
really
that.
I don't like to be stuck. I'm like,
No.
you know, don't hem me in. Don't tell me what I can and can't do,
Yeah.
because then this is not going to work for us. So I thought, well, let me not do that to myself, right? I get to choose what I'm going to do with this business. And it was when flower trucks were
Certainly.
just kind of starting to come on the scene, you know, they weren't quite a thing yet. There were maybe 3 in the country at that time that I knew of or that I could find. And being in Colorado, I thought, I can't do one of those cute little VW truck thingies because it's too cold for that. So, and so mine basically looks like a food truck. And when I first started it, people were like, "You're doing what? Huh?" I'm like, "I'm doing
Sure,
it looks
I
like a
bet.
food truck, but it's flowers." And nobody really understood it when
Yeah.
I first started, but I kind of like it that way. I like to do something that's outside of the norm. And now, of course, there's like a million of them. But
I would guess that your experience is why you were able to take the kind of risk that you did, because most people would have ran from a risk like that. You're
Yep.
a trendsetter. You were doing
Yes.
something that wasn't mainstream. So most
Yeah.
people would have said no. But because I think what you went through gave you that courage. Do you feel that
Yeah.
way, Jessica?
You know, Dion, I really do. And I think that's a good point. And this is something I share with people a lot. You know, those experiences, those times, those hard seasons in our life are what shape and form us. And that's what puts the grit in your belly.
Yes.
And that's what makes you say,
Yeah.
I have one life.
Yes.
I've got this one precious life, and how am I going to spend it? And what am I going to do with it? And
yes, I love that.
Really, yeah, that is the thing that made me say, and because I've been through so much the physical and emotional toll. I mean, I had severe depression when I was going through the pain and thinking day in and day out, I don't know, and nobody knows, nobody even understands what's happening to my body. I don't know if I'm going to come out of it. And so I was in severe depression. And I want to say this for anyone who's listening, or
please,
if you are suffering at all from severe depression, get help. When I went to my doctor and I filled out the form, she was like, "You are like off the charts depressed. Like you are suicidal. You need to take this medication, and you need to think about your kids." And this is coming from, so everyone has their own opinions on medicine. Everyone has their own opinions on, you know, healthy living and all of that. And I was one of these crunchy moms who home birthed and didn't take pain meds and was like, I don't take medication. And that went out the window. And let me tell you, that little pill, I'm still on it. I freaking love that pill, because my brain was so messed up from the pain and from the PTSD of almost dying and feeling like anytime I couldn't breathe, I thought I was going to die again.
Oh gosh.
And so, you know, your situation may not be that severe. It might be something totally different, but there is absolutely no stigma around it. You go get the help that you need, and you push through that. You push through that pain to the beauty, because there is beauty on the other side of it. And it will put this grit in your belly that makes you, then you know you can do anything. It sounds so cheesy when you say that.
No, but you're living proof, babe. You are
Yeah.
living proof.
Literally. Being an entrepreneur and starting your own business, those of us who do that, it is really hard. It's a lot of work. And I'll be working crazy hours, and then I think to myself, this is nothing.
Yeah.
I really liked it in the video when you say, nature is not a factory. She doesn't make the same thing twice. Let the element guide you. And I think that is crucial and so important. And that's exactly what you did. I mean, with the help you got, but then it let you focus on the elements that nature was giving to you, and from there move on. It's really inspiring to see you, and to everyone just tuning in. I mean, Jessica Sparzak has a really beautiful video on BloomTV. We want to show you a clip again, because her story is a story of inspiration, motivation, and it's really beautiful.
Yes, please share it again. Let's see it again.
So one of the things I love the most about my art and my approach to it is this sense of taking something that is truly unwanted. It goes from being something that was trash and nobody would really even think anything of it, and then I'm creating art with it, and what it becomes is fascinating.
It is. It is fascinating.
You guys, I want to make sure that you know how you can actually, just as a reminder, to subscribe to our newsletter on BloomTV Network. If you go to bloomtvnetwork.com, all of you right now, make a note of that. And if you scroll down to the bottom, it will ask you to join our newsletter, and you're going to find out all of our giveaways, all of our upcoming features, and more of our videos that we're going to be launching every quarter, just like Jessica's.
Yes, absolutely. And also, we are on Instagram too. If you guys happen to be on there as well, we have a really fun page. It's Flowers and Friends _ talk show. And this is where you can find kind of behind the scenes of our talk shows. We post clips from previous episodes, and we just have a lot of fun over there. So if you guys wouldn't mind following us and even sharing about our page and how this talk show, can be inspiring to you and motivating. I mean, I'm sitting here looking at the chat right now, and wow.
It's so moving, Jessica. You have no
moving,
idea how much empathy our viewers are sharing with us. One of them, I love it. It says, "You do you." And that's the most important, to not allow people to set your standards for what you do and how you live. No, our chat is filled with so much love for you and for everyone right now.
Right.
I can feel it.
Jessica, I would really love to hear about this creative process of yours, because you share in the video how you literally took a weed, which would be the tumbleweed, and you turn it into an art sculpture. Not only does it take a different frame of mind, but you were looking, you were pulling, and you were finding you found something that everybody else, I'm sorry, but we have tumbleweeds in Oklahoma and they get really annoying. And so I know that the tumbleweed is really just the vehicle. Like, it was just kind of the thing that led you through your creative process. But can you talk a little bit more about the creative process has helped you along in your journey? Because this was how many years ago when all of this happened?
Yeah, so it was 2013, and it took me until the end of 2017 to be what we call stable, where I wasn't constantly suffering from this cycle of ribs dislocating and then going back in, and then dislocating and then going back in, and really just being sort of incapacitated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And so the flower truck, my word. So you get this truck. I mean, how do you even know what you're looking for when you're going to look for a truck? Did you just go on Marketplace, or do you know what I mean? Like, how did you have the vision, or did the vision find you?
I did. Both. I think it was both, but I definitely had a set. Okay. So I'm one of these people who gets an idea in my head, and then I'm like, okay, we're doing it. As long as it's not a foolish plan, you know what I mean?
Right.
But I just don't sit on stuff. I'm like, okay, this is the plan. This is what we're going to do. I found the truck on Craigslist. I went and drove a bunch of trucks that were just death traps. And then found this one. And I'm actually big on working and doing things with people and who I connect with. And so the guy who was selling me the truck, I was like, oh, he's got good vibes. I think he's a good person. I'm going to buy the truck from him. So anyways, I found the truck, and then also found at the same time, found a mutual friend had a designer that I could work with, and that person worked with me on the color and how it was an interesting thing for me, because once I had someone I committed to paying to do something, then I was like, well, really, now I can't back out. And so that was a good thing for me, having that accountability of, I am now saying this out loud that I'm going to do this. And we started working through the process and figuring out what the design was going to look like and how we were going to do it. But it did take me a while. My son was still little at that time, and I knew I didn't want to work full time quite yet. So I just dabbled. I went for it. My husband was on board, very supportive. Yeah,
that's huge.
He's always been so supportive. We took out a loan to get the truck, and he was fine with that. And once it was done, I kind of had to pump the brakes a little bit to say, I don't really know what I'm doing here. I don't know how I'm going to do this. I already knew I was good at working with flowers, but how do you take a truck out and then just start selling flowers to people? So it took me about, 8 months or so, and it was Colorado in the fall. So all through the winter, I couldn't really run it. So
Right.
the next spring, I started taking it out, and by June of 2019, so this was now June of 2019, is when I officially launched. And I said to myself, my son was going to go to first grade, and I said, all right,
Big.
in August when he goes to first grade,
That's big.
I'm going to go full time. I'm going to do this thing, right? And that happened, and I have not come up for air.
Oh, girl.
So yeah, I just was like, I'm
I
doing
want to
this.
read
Go ahead.
you some of the, because people are sending so much love. You are a warrior, Jessica. Thank you so much for this. It truly hits home with me. Thank you, Jessica, for sharing your story. There are many of us who relate. You are an inspiration. Hey, from the UK, enjoying listening to you all. I mean, there's so much love going on in the chat room
I
because
can't say that, so thanks for sharing it, and it makes me emotional because I
no, thank
You'll need to watch the
sharing all
replay.
this.
Yeah, you'll need
I
to watch the replay.
want to empower and encourage other women. It's literally why I've set up the business the way I do. So I want to share about this, and I want to encourage other female business owners to think about their businesses in a shared spirit, because as soon as I started the truck, I would have women constantly coming up to the truck. Oh my gosh, this is amazing. I would love to do this. You're so lucky you get to work with flowers, and it's such a dream of mine. And I started seeing this need or this desire in other women. And so I started an internship program.
Oh,
and I've been running the internship. This is like one of my favorite parts of the business is we do it every 3 months. And excuse me. We run this internship where women can learn, the whole gamut. And I would love to say it's a well-oiled, organized machine, but it's not, because every season that we bring people in, it kind of looks different. If it's Valentine's, if it's Mother's Day, if it's holiday, they get a different piece of it. Right now it's the summer internship. And so they're going to get the chance to go to some of the flower farms that we work with, because we've always worked with local flower farms. We work with about 4 or 5 of them. We have great relationships with.
That's incredible.
And so they get to learn the whole gamut. So if you have, it's a trade-off, they give us 10 hours a week. They work for us. But we want it to be something that is a mutual benefit, both us and to them. And I've had people ask me, well, aren't you worried that they're going to steal your ideas and like try to go do your business? I'm like, no, not really. I mean, if they go off, and really the way we cultivate it is it's meant to launch them. Like, what do you want to do? Now we have some specific styles and some specific things that I say. Now I ask that you don't go replicate this exact thing, because it is very Pickletown. It is our Florence bouquet is our thing, named after my grandma. Like, go find your own style. But
that's limiting. That's like the limiting thought process that many people will have in the creative business. Just like with Kara and Anna, I'm sure they get asked the same thing of, aren't you worried about showing how people do these? But that's a limiting belief. And if you think about the greater good that you're doing, there's enough for everyone, right?
There really is. Definitely. And what's been fun for us with this is most of the women who work for Pickletown have come through our internship. So we've spent 3 months with them. We know we work well together, and the ones who want to stay on board, oftentimes we have work for them. And then they will go on and also start freelancing for other companies, because we are not a wedding flower company. So we don't do wedding florals. And so there's people that come to us for it all the time. And so sometimes I refer them to these ladies who've worked with me, or they are now going on. Yeah. And it's been such a special thing. But I think I would love to encourage and empower women to, if it's just a hobby, great, pursue it. If you want to do it as a career, great, do that too. But if my story can help someone feel like inspired to do that, that feels like an honor to me.
I want to read this because I'm just so touched by everyone's comments, but I think this is beautiful. Jessica is Jessica is modeling the difference between a closed hand mindset and an open one. You sure are.
Thank you.
Absolutely. The ladies, I just opened up the chat box. I've been not looking at it, but I want you to all know that I now see your names, and you're making me cry because I really appreciate you showing up for Jessica today, ladies, and you know who you are. We have some questions that we want to ask you.
Sure.
So Kara, can you hear okay?
Yeah, I can hear. Yes, I can hear.
Okay,
you guys
good.
See me?
Good.
Yes, we see you.
Apparently, in the internet land, I've been frozen. Thank you guys for telling me. I don't know what's happening. Power of the internet. Power of the internet. So Jessica, I would love to know, like, what is next for you in Pickletown Flower Company?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a good question.
Good
And
question.
it's a good question for right now because we've been through a lot of transition. During COVID, you know, I was running the truck, and then I had business accounts. That's how we started. That's how I started the company, was with these business accounts, and both of those things, of course, were shut down. You couldn't run a truck, you couldn't be out with it, and you couldn't, and all businesses were closed. So my entire business got shut down. Well, would have been shut down if I wasn't like, okay, we're going to pivot, and we started shipping.
Good for you.
Right. Because I was like, well,
Yeah.
either we ship or we die.
Yeah.
So I told them,
Right.
I was like, oh boy. We had one girl working for me at the time, and I was actually in Florida when everything went on lockdown. We were in Florida with our kids for spring break, and I contacted her. Name is Katie. I said, Katie, I know I said we don't ship, but now we do. So I need you to go to the post office and you should get a flat rate mailer. And that's how we started shipping. And that's how the Florence bouquet came to be. It's named after my grandmother, who is in her 90s. And at that time, you know, the folks in their 90s were really who we were all most concerned with, right? Like, so it was meant to honor the process of what everyone was going through during COVID. Like, we're masking up, we're locking down, we're doing all these things. And it's really for people who are vulnerable, for all of us, but especially for them. So I wanted to honor her, and I wanted to honor the elderly. And then also, it just so happens Florence Nightingale is also Florence. So, and she's the one who brought sanitation and washing our hands and like all of that to the front. So that is what the Florence is named for. And that's the bouquet that we are known for shipping. And everything we do is very intentional. And so shipping is going to continue to be a big aspect of the business. But I've learned the hard way over the last 2 years that some flowers just really don't want to go in a box and sit in FedEx. So so our customers have had to transition with us as we've learned that. But we are going to continue to ship, and we're going to continue to push forward with our dried. So we have really made a name for ourselves in Denver with dried product. I'm really passionate about it, whether it's product we foraged, product we've imported. I love to get funky with it and paint things and have a lot of fun with it. So we are I'm starting to import now from more places and get more product in. And so
gosh. Wow.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about that. I'm sitting in this little phone booth thingamajiggy at our brand new studio space. We just moved into a place called Saltbox. If you don't know Saltbox, thank you.
Yes, congrats.
Check it out. It's a really cool, it's like a co-working concept, but bringing in e-commerce businesses that need that support. So it's a lot to explain, but it's awesome. Check it out online. But anyways, we just opened our little warehouse here. I spent Memorial Day weekend doing that. And so it's going to allow us to really be more streamlined and efficient in e-commerce and getting our products out across the nation more efficiently. So we are both selling them retail, and we are starting to wholesale dried product. So that is that portion of the business. And then we have done some long-term pop-ups here locally in Denver that were more of a shop environment, and I didn't like it. So those were, it was
you
wonderful.
don't know till you try. You don't know till you try.
It's always fun experimenting.
I had to do it. I had to do it as part of the business because I moved my family, and I moved an hour away during COVID. So I was like, well, I need a place for my staff to work. So I guess we have a shop now. But it just, again, in the creative process and entrepreneurial journey, some people start off with a really great plan and follow it. I'm not one of those people. So I've had to trial and error some things. And I have come to this place of we're back. And if you look on our Instagram, it's like we're getting back to our roots. I started this company to be mobile, so it could be accessible to people so that we could take it wherever we wanted. And I love the shipping aspect. So we're keeping that. And then we do a lot of private events. So we do flower bars, workshops, we come on site, we do those things with people, whether it's in their own space, like we do corporate events where we're doing classes for 50 plus people. And we do online workshops. So with BloomTV, when I get a minute, I'm gonna
I am so excited to hear about, like, did you watch
Yes.
BloomTV? When you filmed that had to be one experience, but the second one, when you went back and watched it,
oh my
like,
gosh.
tell us about actually like shooting the episode and then going back and watching what Bloom put together. I mean, there you are. Were you freaking out?
Yeah, I really was. The experience of, I actually really enjoyed being on camera. I found it to be really fun and energizing. And so, you know, you go and you do all that, and then you don't have any, you know, I didn't know which clips they were going to use. We did like 2 or 3 days of filming, and it really took my breath away.
I'm sure.
It feels so cinematic, right? Like the way they got those shots overhead, and then
It's just gorgeous.
It is so beautifully done. And that's what I mean by I'm really humbled that they gave me the opportunity to share my story that way, because it's beyond what I could have put just in written words.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for people to see it and hear the music and feel the emotion of it is very, and Monica and I talked about that from the beginning. I said, video is so powerful. Mm-hmm. And you can communicate things in video in a way you can't in any other form, right? Mm-hmm. And so
100%, yes.
Seeing my story and having my family watch it, right? Like, and my staff, the first time I watched it.
Yes.
So I surprised my staff with moving into this new space. They had no idea. We had been through so much transition, and I thought, I can't ask them to do this move. I'm just going to do it. So I hired my nephews. We spent 35 hours over Memorial Day weekend moving. And then I told my staff to meet me for breakfast here, and they had no idea what was going on. And then boom, we've moved. Here it is. And they were just crying and excited. And then I said, and today just happens to also be the day that the BloomTV thing comes out. So we also got to watch it. My first time seeing it was with my team, and it was really special. And my nephews were there too. And it was really special to watch it with them and for them to respond to that story, which they had heard, but seeing it like that, the way Bloom captured it, was really special.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anna, you're sitting over there, and I can tell that you're like sinking in, like, poor, you know, everything that she's saying. And I know that you are as motivated as the rest of us too. What did you get out of the video when you watched it, Anna?
No, it was so emotional. It was so incredible to listen to you, to know your story. And I could relate because for the last 12 years, I've been listening to people tell me how much flowers have actually changed their lives and how much they have healed. So it was so moving to actually now get to see it. I mean, the video it captures your essence so beautifully.
Yeah.
I was crying like for half the video, but it was like a crying of love. You know, I felt so much empathy for your story, so much. I wanted to hug you so much. I wish we were in the same room because it's so loving. And now reading what everyone is writing to you, Jessica, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Wow,
Kara,
we've had
tell
several people. Yeah, we've had so many people on this show today. I mean, there's 74 people watching right now. So we want to make sure that you know how to watch Jessica's video. So we have a screen for you. If you go to BloomTVNetwork.com and you go up to the top, you hit series premiere, a lovely screen will appear and you can watch her video right here. And it's open for everyone to watch. Her story is so inspiring. We just wanted to make sure the world could see it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And share it with your friends and everyone. It really is beautiful, inspiring, motivating. Thank you, Jessica, so much.
Which is just what BloomTV is about. And Jessica, before you go today, I know that there are some women, I recognize some people on here, and I want you to know that they too are going through things. You know what I mean? Like they too are going through some painful things right now. And if you could leave them with a bit of advice, something you want them to pull from watching you, what would you say to them right now?
First thing I'd say that I want to tell you is it's okay to feel it. It's okay to not be okay. And I don't care what people around you say. You tune that out and you press into it because there's no other way. You can't get out of your circumstance, right? I mean, most often, right? Most often, whatever we're going through, it's a season, but it is a season. And there is beauty on the other side of it, but you can't hop to it. You have to go through the pain, you have to go through the trial, you have to go through the season, and do not ever expect yourself to do that in a way where you put pressure on yourself to do it perfectly or to act like you're fine. And so that's the first thing. And I am extremely passionate about that message. So that's the first thing. And then as you are moving through that experience, trust and believe in the hope that this will pass. You will come through this. It might look, it may not look exactly how you want it to. It might take so many different forms.
Yes.
But your strength will come from your gut. It will come from your heart and your gut, and you can get through this. And you can allow it to be what it is, and then on the other side of it, push through to the beauty. And this song just came on last night. I've listened to it probably 10 times since then, and I really don't want to get the song wrong. It's the guy's name is Blessing, and what's the song? Brighter Days.
Brighter Days, sure.
And I'm going to start linking this song to my
that's how you feel. Like it's a song.
I love this song, and it says, "Love will find you in your pain." And I just can't get that out of my head. I keep thinking those words, and I've been singing the song, and it's such a powerful song, and I think it goes really well with my story and with so many of our stories. But let love find you in that pain, whether it's from within, whether it's from your family, whoever it is, whether you believe in a higher power, whether it's God. Love will find you in your pain, and you will get through to the other side of it. I will tell you that there were most of the days that I didn't think that was true. And I really struggled. And I remember my mom had to live with us at one point. She had to dress me and bathe me because I was so frail. I couldn't do that for myself.
Oh my goodness.
And I remember looking at her some days and just saying, you have to believe for me because I don't have it in me today. Like today, I just feel weak and I feel tired. And guess what? That was okay. That didn't mean I was a weak person. That did not mean anything about my character. That did not mean that I wasn't going to make it to the other side of this. I did. And I'm so much stronger and have so much strength in my gut and grit. And so I think so many times, and it really angers me when people have an expectation for someone to just put a smile on their face when they are suffering.
And it's exactly the correlation you said in the weeds. It's like a play on words. You just have to go through it. Even the weeds are not necessarily the beautiful. Kara, I am certain that you have a similar experience of where, you needed the courage to go through what you were going through.
Yeah, I always say nature really found me, and I didn't even know that I needed flowers. Jessica, when I was watching your video, I did cry a lot because my love for flowers and my business was birthed out of pain. I was orphaned, I say, at a young age. At 32, I lost my dad when I was in my early 20s, and then I had to go through a really hard time with my brother. I haven't shared this a lot online, but he had a very bad drug addiction that I had to go through with him, and I lost him suddenly. Oh gosh,
Oh.
I don't want to cry.
Oh.
I lost him, and when I lost him, my mom was going through breast cancer, and it had spread to her brain. And
dear.
I looked at the nurse as my brother was dying, because I knew he was dying because I'm a registered nurse. I'm an oncology nurse. I know. And I looked at the nurse, and I'll never forget saying, I'm about to lose my whole family. And I lost my mom later that year on Christmas Eve. And her name was Joy. And I'll never forget, I was pregnant
Blooming
with my
joy.
fourth. Yeah, I was pregnant
Blooming
with my
joy.
fourth. Yeah, blooming joy. I was pregnant with my fourth child when I lost her. And I'll never forget my OB, who I love dearly. He actually knew my family very well. And he looked at me and he was like, Kara, you have spent so much of your life taking care of other people, and you have 4 kids. You need something for yourself. And I'm like, okay, how am I going to do that? I have 4 kids. Like, what do you mean have something for myself?
Right.
It was really
Right.
shortly after that, flowers found me. I always say a seed was planted in my heart one day to learn how to grow cut flowers to bring others joy. And I didn't start the flower business to like earn some money on the side. Like, I started it because I wanted to learn how so I could help others experience the joy of growing flowers. And 4 years later, that's what I'm doing. I'm on a talk show telling my story.
Oh,
It's
Kara.
just the power of flowers and nature and getting your
Yes.
hands in the dirt. It can be healing for you.
It's truly a flower movement, you guys. We're doing it together. We were never intended to do it alone. Anna, I know you must have a similar story as well as, maybe, something that you built your business upon.
Well, I've been around flowers for so long, more than 23 years. So flowers have always been there. But I do have a flower challenge called The Joy of Living with Flowers. And I love how joy is such a big word in the flower business. And the challenge is about you giving yourself permission to have flowers for yourself, an act
Yeah.
of self-love.
Oh, yeah.
And on BloomTV, I have a series of videos that guide you through 6 steps I recommend so you can have it, because a lot of people are afraid of flowers. They think you either have to be a floral designer, or they cost a lot of money, or they are so hard, or they die too fast, and all that stuff. So I've made it so easy for anyone to have flowers and get to experience the magic. Because even as you go to buy them, for me, it's like flowers. If you pay attention, flowers will talk to you and will tell you, or they at least do that with me. Pick me, I want to go. But you need to pay attention and be there. And then once you take them home, I mean, you don't need to make like this big, huge flower arrangement to compete with. It's just an act of self-love. And that's what I like. And the challenge for me, it's you have to do it for 4 months. And why 4 months? Because in 4 months you get to experience a change of seasons. And once you get to do that, it's amazing. You will never stop, because you can have 56 different flowers every week of the year, and you don't need to buy hundreds, or I mean, you can get one or you can get a bunch, and just experience as they bloom, as they open their evolution. And then my favorite part is learning to let go, because every week you get to experience letting go, and that is so important in life. I mean, we need to learn that things are there the time they're supposed to be, enjoy them, cherish them, say thank you, and then okay, bye. That's it.
I love that, Anna. I have no doubt that everybody's going to run to the grocery store and buy them a $5 bouquet, because if that's all you can, at least treat yourself to that. It is an act of self-love, and I'm glad that you reminded everybody. It does evoke joy, and not everybody has someone that's going to give them flowers. So give them yourself, ladies and gentlemen. Go buy them yourself.
Definitely.
Go, even if it's a weed. I mean, there's nothing wrong with a weed. And I for one, my story, if you'd asked me to told it like 6 years ago, it'd be different than what I'm going to tell you now, because 12 years later of having the turquoise iris, I thought my business was about painting. I was so wrong. I didn't know I was so wrong. My business, that was like the vehicle, like painting and art was my vehicle to get me to where I am now, because through art and through painting flowers, which was kind of a natural, I don't have, it's my subject matter, but I don't really have a good explanation why I feel so drawn to them, other than they are an exchange between one person, a connection, whether it be a happy or a sad moment. That is what we do with flowers. We exchange them because they always bring and evoke emotion. So I thought for years, my business was about painting and creating, but I found out, looking back now, it was about this. It was about community. It was about, hey, you have a role here as a leader because this is what you stepped out to do in front of everybody. So keep doing it, because so-and-so said you're inspiring them. And so-and-so said, you taught me how to do this. So-and-so sent me a message and said, I got off of the couch today because of you.
Yeah.
When you hear that, you realize you have a responsibility.
Yeah.
You have a responsibility. And it's like, wait a minute, I didn't sign up for this. So you have the option, you have the choice, don't we, ladies? We have the choice to keep going through the hard things, because owning a business is hard. Owning a business and making decisions. And I tell somebody, if you can solve problems, you can be a business owner. So what happens is the connection, people like this, like Bloom has done a fantastic job pulling people that have similar mindsets, who all love, and to play on words with our CEO, Monica's vision for Bloom, it's to restore Eden with nature's most beautiful gift, which is the flower. And so I feel like this talk show specifically will do that. If you allow that, and the experts, you just get to go to this one place, BloomTV Network, where she has pulled all of these experts together. And I don't think it's by chance. I don't think it's by coincidence.
No.
Because what I'm learning from each one of our guests, I needed. So my story is, in a nutshell, I pulled myself slowly out of shyness, insecurity, perfectionism. There's no such thing. I don't need that in my life. Don't even strive for that anymore. I strive for excellence. I strive to do the best I can, but perfectionism doesn't live here. And I got out of that shell, and nobody will ever put me back in it. And so art was my vehicle. And I'm just so thrilled to be here and part of something bigger than myself.
Wow, that's lovely. And I love the energy. I know what you're saying. I can relate so much, Dion, because we are creating magic, and this episode has been all about magic. I mean, sharing our stories, communicating with our viewers, with our audience, telling you all the magic we have experienced, bringing experts that we consider can help us make this world more beautiful, more joyful, bloom together.
Yes.
We are.
BloomTV, because that's what we're doing, blooming, inspiring together. Oh my God, I love it. Thank you.
It's so
Dion.
true.
We're so happy you're here.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I just, a quick reminder that you can watch the new collaboration. The video is out right now on BloomTV Network. You can make sure you're following Jessica on all social media as well. And June 27th, you'll actually be the new printed publication will be out. You will be able to, it's not out yet, but it's coming. Right now, you can actually scan the QR code, and you will be able to subscribe. So take advantage of that, because if you're on here right now, you're already a lover of flowers. I know it for sure.
Yes. And if you guys get the magazine, you know what would be so fun is if you maybe took a picture of yourself, you have the magazine, and tag BloomTV, tag Flowers and Friends Talk Show on Instagram. We'd love to share you.
Yes, we'd love to hear. And also, please send comments of what you think of the video. You cannot leave the comments on the video, but you can go to our Flowers and Friends talk show on Instagram or Facebook and leave us a comment there, because we would really love to know what you think of that beautiful video Jessica made for us, shared with us.
Absolutely. I believe as we close out today, we want to thank everybody for our sponsors that have allowed this show to happen and support BloomTV. We want to thank you, everybody. There's a list of some of those. You want to make sure, guys, follow them on social media as well. You're going to get a lot of added information also from our amazing sponsors.
Yes. And here you can see where you can sign into BloomTV. You go to BloomTVnetwork.com, and it's so easy. You just enter BloomTV and you have access to all the videos. You can watch them on your computer, on your cell phone, wherever you are. It doesn't matter. You don't need to be in a specific city, even in a specific country. Así es que a todos mis amigos del mundo hispano lo pueden ver donde sea que se encuentren.
I love it.
I love that.
Thank you so much to our sponsors today. Stick around. We're going to show you a quick video, and then we are going to say goodbye.
Awesome. I love
We have built the world's first flower-focused streaming network, bringing the public educational and entertaining shows that highlight the magic of flowers. Learn how to heal through flowers, cook with flowers, design your living space to reflect nature, make crafts using florals, sustainably garden, and so much more. We are your network for all things floral. Join us at BloomTV as we help bring beauty to the lives of people and the planet through nature's most beautiful creation, the flower.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you for being here. Thank you,
beautiful.
Anna. Thank you, Kara. And thank you, everybody, for being here. It means the world that you hang out with us on this Friday afternoon.
As always, we invite you and your friends to tune in to next week's episode. Tell them why, Kara.
Because everything is better with